2016 series. एक बार मुझे confirm करिए if you are able to hear me. Yes, good evening, Arun, Balaji. How are you, Camilo? Dinanath. Yes, Irfan, Kadappa, Krishnan, how are you? Parveen, Priyanka, good evening. Yes, thank you very much for confirmation. Saurabh, Vishwajit, Inder Singh, how are you, Inder? Lahu, Najib, Pramod, we have Ramachandran. Very good evening to everyone. Thank you very much for coming. So we are live with the end episode, and every week we do this live. And those are part of Ultimate membership. They also get access to recording. Those who are not yet part of Ultimate membership, as we launch new membership in future, you can become a part of our community, right? So yeah, thanks very much. Okay, so I hope all of you are doing well. So we always start with some good thought. हम हमेशा एक अच्छे thought के साथ start करते हैं. So the thought is, it's not the like who's giving you salary. Like most time we think who is giving you salary, who's giving you salary, कौन दे रहा है आपको salary. So it's not the businessman, it's not the businessman who is giving you salary, right? It's not the businessman who is giving you salary. He is smart enough, he is just managing the money of customer. So for that reason what we say, that customer, we need to make customer happy, and we need to make sure that customer is happy. So a very good saying that it's not the businessman who is giving salary, he's just managing money of customer. But you have seen in the COVID, and like customers stop giving money, and many businessmen stop giving money to employees, right? So it's always good. We should always focus on customer satisfaction and customer, happiness. Okay, great. So that was thought for today. And if you know this, like subject like this, quality systems, and these techniques helps in the customer satisfaction and help you, to improve the organization productivity and also reduce a lot of confusion in the organization. I've seen the companies who adopted this QMS system in a structured way. Those companies really make good progress, right? Okay, great. So thank you very much. So we do this live every week, and we'll do this until end of March, or maybe mid of April. And the previous recording, those who are part of Ultimate membership, they get access to that. And those who are not yet part of membership, maybe as we launch new batch, you can decide to be a part of our community, right? So today, what is that we will focus? आज हम क्या focus करेंगे? So today we'll be focusing on the operation part, which is a very important clause. Let me share my screen with you. So today we'll talk about the how we can. So the way this program is designed is like this. ये जो program design किया गया है, how it is designed, that there's a structure we follow. What is that structure? There are like some challenge question. So there are some like challenge question which we ask, so that our mind which has question, it's more attentive, and then we understand the clause requirements, and wherever we understand what is the requirement of the clause, we look at related case study, and we also like any live Q&A, and if you have any question, I also answer that, and then we also play some Q. So this is the like a 5-part structure which we follow, so that you get better learning outcome, so that आपकी जो knowledge है वो retain रहे, और आप जो है याद रहे आपको important things, right? So what are the questions which will come from that? So I just need one commitment from you. For 1 hour we'll be together. Today we'll be finishing minimum clause number 8.1 and 8.2, which is all about operation and understanding customer requirements. So I need one small commitment from you. What is that? You please commit that. You will give me 1 hour of undivided attention. Please write 100 in the comment if you commit that. You will give me 100% full attention, because this is very important in a virtual environment. A self commitment is very important. So please write 100 in the comment. If you commit that for next 1 hour, you'll give me 100% of your attention, and will not open any WhatsApp or something like that. Yes, in there. Yeah, in there, I think you have recently joined. Welcome, man. Yeah, Chidaran, good. Great. Yeah. Everyone should write. Why I'm asking, right? So that you are engaged, right? जब आप लिखते हैं तो थोड़ी एनर्जी खर्च होती है ना. फोकस होता है, एनर्जी खर्च होती है, दिमाग लगता है, मतलब एटलीस्ट you are engaged, right? Yeah. So don't be a passive learner, be active learners. It's very important. That's the advantage of doing live session. And if you have any question, I will give this opportunity. Like in between, you will be able to ask me the question, right? Great. Chale, thank you very much. So let's get started. So these are few questions. We should get answer this question by the end of this today's program. आज हमें इन questions के आंसर हमें मिलने चाहिए, बड़ा दोस्त. What requirement need to be understood from customer? What is that we need to understand from customer? What does operation planning will include? How to maintain confidentiality of customer organization information when we write about what should be language of customer communication? Like, is it mandatory if there has to be some sort of language, or there can be flexibility? If verbal communication should also be monitored in customer communication. What is the meaning of customer designated special characteristics? What special attention to be given to customer designated special characteristic? What is manufacturing feasibility? We'll look at some case study as well. And who is responsible for carrying out manufacturing feasibility? These are some questions which we will get by the end of today's session. We must get answer of this. And those are part of our membership. They also get access to slides on all this stuff. Okay, so if you look, see, there are like 10 clause structure. We told you easy way, SNT, clips, OPI. So this is the easy way how you can remember 10 clauses, which is basically, yeah, Manish, I'm good. So if you look at like essentially, these are the 10 clause structure, and the first three are non-auditable, and scope, normative reference, terms and definition, and then actual implementation start from CLIPS OPI, which is context organization, leadership, planning, support. So now we have come to this eight, which is your like operation, and then we have nine, which is performance evolution, and then we have last clause is 10, so improvement. So today we'll be focusing on the two of the clause, which is 8.1 and 8.2. So operation planning and control, what you need to do in this operation planning and control. So if you look at let's get into the clause and understand what is the requirement. So operation planning and control. So when you talk about this operation planning and control, it includes basically planning for the new product development and also as well for the existing planning. So the organization shall, जहाँ भी shall लिखा है वो क्या है? Mandatory requirement. Where a shall is written, it's a mandatory requirement. The organization shall implement and control the processes. Which processes? So if you see like clause number 4.4, we identified like multiple, many processes. We identified like what are the processes in our organization. So like there are different processes. Like it can be what are the remote locations, what are different processes like manufacturing, customer complaint handling, store, lab, laboratory management. All these are processes, right? Needed to meet the requirement for the provision of product and services and implement the actions determined by clause 6. So clause 6, we identified there are various risks we identified. So basically, it's talking about like all taking all of them together. We need to identify what. Let's understand. Determine the requirements. What is the requirement like of product and services? So when we say why they have added before they had only this word product, but now they have added this services because in ISO 91 they have expanded the scope of why they have used these services because this specific clause came from this 9001 and 9001 9001 is applicable for any kind of organization. It's also applicable for a service based organization as well, those who are providing services like software services or like a consulting or training, whatever, like calibration, all these are services. So just to maintain that scope thoda sa expand karne ke liye they have added this word product and services. Of course in your case it will be uh, in your context it will be product only. So determine the requirements for product and services. What is the requirement? What do we want, right? And how you can do that? The requirement could be anything. It could be like there's something called customer requirement, right? And then we have customer specific requirements. Okay. Before we proceed, if anyone would like to specify the difference between CR and CSR, if anyone of you would like to differentiate, क्या आप में से कोई बताना चाहेगा difference between customer requirement and customer service requirement? Yes. You can try, you can write in the chat or you can raise hand and I can unmute and you can speak. Difference between customer requirement and customer specific requirements. Yeah, you can try. Yeah. Anji, what do you think? What is the difference between these two? None? Okay, no issue. So let's understand. What is the difference between? Okay, good. I can see some of Naveen, customer requirements are generic requirement for the product. Okay, CSR are must requirement. Good. Okay, and Prince, customer requirements related to product. Okay, very good. Great. I think you are right. And let's try to understand the difference between customer requirement and customer specific requirement. So if you look at like customer requirements are like very this is a broad category, like it's a broad category when we talk about the customer requirement. It could be anything. It can be about the performance and it could be about the product spec specification, and it is like it could be anything. It could be about product volume. So it's a very broad requirement. So when we say customer requirements, this is more generally related to your product performance, and it could be related to your product specifications, volume, performance. When we talk about customer requirement, it is a very broad umbrella, right? When we talk about CSR, customer specific requirements, are requirements like in addition to IATF, or these are like 1694. These are requirements related to, mostly related to like quality systems. For example, when you say the Honda has this requirement of doing layered process audit, like Ashok Leyland has also requirement for layered process audit. Then there are customer who has requirement for that you need to submit the action plan in that some particular 8D format. आपको उसके 8D format में जवाब देना है. Yeah, there may be some requirement related to SPC, statistical process control, that CPK should be minimum 1.67. So all these are what? These are customer specific requirements. So what is the broad difference between CR and customer specific requirements? So CR is basically a bigger umbrella. So CR जो है बड़ा umbrella है, customer requirements, and it's a broad requirement. This it can be anything. Generally, it is more specific to product. Yes, as Naveen has told. Customer service requirements are with these are additional requirements with respect to systems, right? And where do you get this CSR? कहाँ मिलता है CSR? Where do you get this CSR? Which document from customer? कौन से document? Customer के कौन से document से मिलता है आपको CSR? Yes, we get this from customer given supplier quality manual. Absolutely, yes, you get this from supply quality manual. And customer requirement, of course, is in the beginning it is with your design department or minutes of meeting or during the design and development phase. Yes, of course, Naveen, you are right. Yeah, Ramesh, we can also get from that as well. Okay, great. So I hope you got understanding. Established criteria. Let's move further. Established criteria for the processes and acceptance of product and service. Okay, one thing I would like to ask you, that which document you think is required against this requirement? इनमें कौन सा document चाहिए? From which document is required? Which document you will audit, or which document you will verify? Yeah, Murthy, absolutely, you're right. You will verify the engineering drawings. Yes, that's what I'm telling Ratna. Which document? That's what I'm asking. So yes, the engineering drawings may come. The critical characteristic may also come. Yes, yes. So, and it can be control plan and PFD. So you generally see it's more of a general clause. Right, yes. So you identify what are the requirements. So basically, engineering drawing and design, basically that's what you identify, right? Okay, great. So let's see, determine the resources needed to achieve that conformity. What are the resources which is required? So what machineries, equipments you need. That's also, this is also you identify in the beginning itself. पहले identify कर लो क्या resources, machines, what is that you need required. So this is what you identify in the beginning itself. Yes. And then you also identify the implement control for the process in accordance with the criteria. And this is basically your control plan, keeping document, determining and keeping documented information to the extent necessary. Okay. First is to identify, and the other is to keeping. What does the word keeping means? I hope you're aware about difference between these are like MDR, maintain documented maintain documented MDI. What is MDI? Maintain documented information, right? So basically, when you say MDI, it's maintain documented information. MDI का मतलब क्या है? You need basically document guideline. Okay, basically document, and where like, and the difference between doc is this document can be changed like guideline, and then we are RDI. So in many places, if you see what's like maintain retain documented information is written, where you need record. So what difference between document and record is, documents are for guideline purpose and records are the proof of evidence. Document can be changed, record cannot be changed. For example, if you see work instruction for do's and don'ts, control plan, these are guidelines, SOP, okay, pre-dispatch inspection standard, incoming inspection standard, all these are guidelines, all these are documents. And what are the records? Like training attendance sheet, lab inspection report, sample inspection report, ये सब क्या है? All these are records. So there's a catch, like there's a generic understanding. Wherever MDI is written, maintain documented information, you need guideline. Wherever retained documented information is written, you need evidence of activity, you need record. Okay. But wherever, listen carefully, wherever the word keeping is written, keeping means you need both. Keeping. So wherever word like keeping is written, you need MDI, you need RDI. So you need both. Like यहाँ पे keeping word लिखा है, वहाँ पे document भी चाहिए और record भी चाहिए. Understood? So here like you need evidence. So what is the evidence? The keeping the document could be control plan, pattern inspection standard, or process instruction standard, and the record could be like pattern inspection report or sample inspection report or finished good pre pre-design inspection report. Have confidence that the process have been carried out as planned. Okay, this is very important. Like if you see what is the how do you say that what are the documents which you have, based on that you can say that you have this confidence that whatever you have produced is as per plan. What is that? Pattern inspection report, finished good inspection report. Like these are what? Okay. You need evidence. Yes. Demonstrate conformity of product requirement. Okay, great. So if you see where I just now told you about this, अभी अभी मैंने आपको बताया अभी इसके बारे में, तो they have clearly written this. Keeping implies both maintaining and retaining documentary information. So, yeah. Can you see this? यहाँ पे साफ तौर पे मेंशन किया गया. When the word keeping is written, it means implies, it means both. You need guideline as well as you need evidence, so that that guideline has been followed. तो आपको दोनों चाहिए. Understood? Yes. ठीक है जी. Okay. The output of planning shall be suitable for the organization objective. Okay. So output of this planning shall be suitable for organization operation. So what is the output? Is the final product and the final finished good report and lab inspection report. The organization shall control plan changes and review the consequences of unintended changes. So it's talking about the change management. Of course, there are generally, like initial clause, it's more like a general clause, and there are specific requirements about change management, which we will read further in clause number 856 about change management and all that, and mitigate any action of adverse effect as necessary. So basically, what does this talks about? This particular clause talks about the overall operation planning, and it talks about from the product creation stage. So you need it can be new product development planning, can be a regular planning as well. So identify the list of process and make sure that these are included in your operation control. Make sure that you have design, drawing, and control plan. So now there are supplementary requirements. So that was about 8.1. So 8.1 kiska tha wo? That was basically from 9001. Now there are additional requirements from 811, which is a supplemental. So when we say supplemental, what do you mean? What do you mean? Supplemental means in addition to what has been said in the previous clause. तो पहले कहा गया है उसके addition. Okay. So let's understand when planning for product creation. Okay, one word, like one question here. What do we mean by product creation? Can anyone, if anyone would like to type in the chat, what do we mean by product realization? As this word was used and it was almost a kind of main clause in the TS version. ये main clause था TS में, but अभी ये word थोड़ा सा silent है, कम use हो रहा है, not being used too much. But what do you mean? What do you understand by that? क्या समझते हैं आप? When we say product realization, what do you mean by that? Yeah, you can write in chat. Yes, Raju. Yes, related to development, but yeah, confirmation from design. Very good. Murtaja, you are very near. Yes, absolutely. So when we talk about product realization, it's one word, and that means that a process from the, you can start from the, like from the customer inquiry to the regular dispatch, right? Or you can say as part of new development, from the customer inquiry to new development and following all phases of APQP and dispatch. Yes, not necessarily the right product quality, but yeah, basically all these steps. Yes, Naveen, इसमें सारे steps आएंगे, right? So product creation is from the customer inquiry to regular dispatch, and from the customer order to regular dispatch. So basically include all the phases, okay, of APQP. So when you say product creation, the following topics shall be included. So wherever shall is written, that's a mandatory requirement. Customer product requirements, what the customer needs, right? What are technical specification, any design requirements, any logistic requirements, like how the material will be sent to customer, right? If customer is within the campus, it is sent by trolley. Like you see in the Maruti campus, there are so many vendors who are a part of, who are there in the same campus, and basically they use trolleys, and they use even mini trucks within the organization, or it is like a customer outside India or outside your country. It can be like different logistic ways, right? So you identify prior that how the metal will be delivered. What is that logistic requirement in the beginning itself? You identify that in the beginning itself, right? Okay. So manufacturing feasibility, what is that manufacturing feasibility? Is it feasible or not? So this is what you identify in the beginning itself. If like whatever you are making, is it feasible or not? That's what you identify in the beginning itself. Right? Okay, let me share my screen again. Okay, just give me a second. I'm sharing my screen again. So okay, let me restart again. So when we talk about the understanding the like planning part from the product relation from the customer inquiry until dispatch, what is that you need to do and what is expected? Let me again repeat. So you identify what are the customer requirements. You identify that. What are logistic requirements? So how the product will go, right? What is the packaging standard and either in truck shipment, how the shipment will go? Is it feasible or not? I'll also show you the one example. Project planning is more about like what do you mean by project planning? Project planning is, have you heard about APQP, Advanced Product Quality Planning? Like so basically how the planning will be carried out. Right? We do have a separate course under core tool section. हमारा एक course है core tool में. You can also look at that. What is the acceptance criteria? So basically like the specifications, right? That's also what you identify. The resources you identify refer to required verification. So there are multiple, like what is the verification, validation, monitoring, measurement, inspection, test activities, and the product criteria. So these are different words. When you talk about verification, it is with respect to a product input requirement. Validation is with respect to testing. Validation किसको बोलते हैं? Testing को. At the endurance, like how the that product will perform in the market. And then you identify what are the resources with respect to monitoring, measurement, inspection, and test equipment. So if you look at like in the beginning itself, why do you need to identify these requirements? Because if you identify these requirements, that's how you know that what investment will be required, whether it is feasible or not, how much timing and cost will be there. So all these like you identify in the beginning itself. Okay, so very very important. So yeah, so although document information not mentioned, but you identify the what are documentation which is required in that, and then there's a clause for confidentiality. What is confidentiality? Uh, how do you ensure confidentiality, right? One question will be like, what is the method to ensure confidentiality? So there's something called NDA. Have you heard about NDA? It's not a political party. Yeah, non-disclosure. Yeah, it's basically non-disclosure agreement. So basically, if you look at NDAs are more like non-disclosure agreement. So basically, that's what you sign with your customer. That's what you sign with your suppliers. And even in PO, like at least, do you have any separate NDA? It's always good to have separate NDA. Yeah, Nasim, I'll tell you about. We'll talk about feasibility. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, Mangesh. Non-disclosure agreement. So now one question: if you do not have NDA, you can get non-conformity in this clause number 8.1.2, 812. अगर आपका NDA नहीं है तो एनसी मिल सकते हैं. But what is the other way? Like और क्या तरीका हो सकता है? So that you can address this requirement. How can you address this requirement? What is the other way by which you can address these requirements? What is the other way? So what I used to do, like in my consulting assignments, like sometime people, mostly like customer force you to sign NDA, but yes, it can be general agreement. So basically, with supplier, the question is with supplier, how do you ensure this? With supplier, how can you ensure this, right? So very easy way, yes, Ramesh, you have given the right answer. In PO terms, like you simply mention this in the PO, right? That all the design will be kept confidential, all the data will be kept confidential. Yes, absolutely. So because mostly if you see by default, supplier accept PO, supplier PO to accept करता ही करता है ना for any agreement. So you can mention that in part of PO. So if you might have if you have a separate NDA, it's good. If not, then at least you can make sure that that these requirements are also mentioned in your PO terms. So you देख लेना आप. Otherwise, you might get non-conformity in the clause number 8.1.2, which is confidentiality, right? So again, shall ensure confidentiality of the customer contracted product. Of course, basically where the customer contracted, it can be customer design, product, and project under development, including related product information. So how do you ensure this? By signing NDA or by making sure that by supplier, how can you ensure this through your supply chain? By maybe mentioning PO or have a separate agreement, right? So yeah, so we already discussed about this, so it's good. This agreement includes as confidentiality clause, although not mentioned, but yeah, then it can be part of purchase order. Top amendment finalizes confidential agreement, and top amendment also ensure that it is also you sign this with the relevant interested party, and basically supply chain people are the people who take responsibility of this. Okay, great. So if you now have any question, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer that. कोई question है आपका पूछ लीजिए. So yeah, how do you ensure feasibility? Yes. So basically feasibility is you can ask multiple questions, various questions. You can design that a kind of a risk assessment also can be done. If there's something called a team feasibility commitment, or let me show you that example so that you get better clarity. Okay, first I'll show you about the one example of risk assessment that is also necessary now that you identify that risk. The other part I will show you is the okay. So let me share my screen with you, then I will answer you any question. Okay, this is the field example. Okay, so one is like, yeah, Adi, if you are part of Ultimate membership, you get access to recording by default in the app. You can send us email support at submastery. If you are part of membership, we'll tell you how you can get that. Okay, so if you look at manufacturing, can you see my Google sheet, right? मेरी Google sheet दिखा दे रही है आपको? You're able to see my Google sheet. एक बार जल्दी से confirm कर दीजिए. Okay. So in this example, like if you see this is a risk assessment with respect to manufacturing. So basically, it tells us that what is the risk, and if you see there are three category. What are these three category? क्या है ये three category? One is like risk is low, medium, and high. And when you say risk is low, medium, high, there are criteria for that. Like when you say risk is low, there are no tool machines required, or risk is medium. Within 24 months, you get return on investment. Risk is high. It takes more than 24 months to get return on investment. In a similar way, like in the capacity front, you can decide this criteria yourself. Low means current capacity available. Medium means capacity need to be enhanced in the existing setup. High means totally new line need to be added. So this is how like you can make it a criteria low, medium, and high, and then you can identify for each subject and for each category, for each risk you identify is it low, medium, and high, and what action plan is required to mitigate. Okay, and then at the end you can come up with some commitment. It is feasible, not feasible based on cross functional team approach. So one is this way where you can do manufacturing this customer. So एक ये तरीका है. Of course, like when you there are other ways also, like you identify what is the costing and all that. So I'm not going into that stuff. वो भी है, that is separate thing people do, right? Okay, other is like a team feasibility commitment where you identify that whether this is feasible or not. So these are some questions which is again a part of manufacturing feasibility, that if part can be made with a customer design requirement, customer specified requirements, if we will be able to meet the customer specification or not, if customer tolerance can be met, can product be made without incurring additional cost, equipment, what are the alternate method, and like this you can ask many other questions. Now this question is also added, and the product manufacturer meeting all applicable government safety and environmental regulation, and that based on CFT you can decide. So you think either feasible, yes, you can make product with no revision, आप प्रोडक्ट बना सकते हो कस्टमर की रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से, or it is feasible है but there are some changes recommended, maybe you may not be able to meet customer tolerance requirement, or you may require customer to change some material, or some changes that might be required, or it is not feasible, you cannot do that. So this is one example and widely used. So this is the example how you can do that. Of course, it's a cross-functional team-based approach. Okay, good, understood. Okay, Eddie, you can, if you're already a member, part of already membership, you already have access in the app, right? Or else you can please drop a email to us, right? We'll tell you how you can get that, right? Okay, great. Naveen, those who are part of ultimate membership, they already have access to all this, right? Yeah, good. If possible, provide a list of all documents which are to fulfill. If you see the uh, in the alternate membership package in the course itself, we have given this list of formats, and all the mostly like mandatory formats are there in that particular clause wise. These formats are available. Yes. Okay. Good. So I hope you understand. If any other question, please let me know. Ratna, you understand what document will come? Like 8.1, mostly like a planning part, like new product. Basically, I haven't seen too many and non-conformity in this 8.1 में हमने ज़्यादा अच्छी नहीं देखी. But if you see what document might come, it can be like your customer agreements, uh, non-disclosure agreement, and new product requirements like basically your initial APQP. So if you see, mostly there are more specific documents in the upcoming clause. So ज़्यादा जो documents हैं वो आगे वाले clause में हैं. इसमें there are limited scope because there are special documents which is there, and there are like for design development is 8.3, for change management there is 8.5. इस वजह से. हाँ, of course that also you can include, Ramesh. I think the word which good question, Narsimha. But let me see the word which they have used. What is the word which they have used? If it, I see. So the word which they have used is like whether the I think I don't think these ISO definitions are available, but what I think the difference could be when we say manufacturing feasibility. Can you make a product? If the manufacturing is feasible, that means if the technology is available, or you'll be able to produce the use those manufacturing process so that you can get the, of course, the product outcome. But I think when we say product feasibility, I'm not sure. I generally people use word is like manufacturing feasibility, so I'm not very much sure about what could be the interpretation of when we say product feasibility. But I think these are commonly used words. But the word which IATF is using, Narsima, is manufacturing feasibility. But I think it looks some people might be using them as a kind of synonyms, but the word which is used is in QMS is manufacturing feasibility, right? Okay, so great. I hope you got understanding. So I'm not sure whether the product feasibility word is used, but I think most people are using this as a synonyms. They might be a small difference, but at surface level, it looks similar, right? Okay, but the word which they have used in IT, manufacturing feasibility. Okay, so great. So if you don't have any questions, so let me. We looked at the clause requirements. We also looked at the some case study. We also interpret the clause. So now it's time where from clause number 8.1, I will. Those who are part of those who come regularly, they know that we also ask quiz, right? So, okay, so are you ready, guys, for the quiz? So what is this quiz? Like a question will come in front of you, and you need to give a right answer. Right? Ready? So it's objective question just to refresh our knowledge. Great. Let's get started. Okay, go ahead and write the right answer. So here is the first question. The organization shall ensure the confidentiality of dash and projects under development. Yes, go ahead and write what is the right answer. A, B, C, D. Please go ahead and write the right answer. Please. Okay, the right answer is time is up. Yes, the right answer is customer contacted product, right? Yes, customer agreed product, customer contacted product. What does keeping what imply? So when we say keeping, what do you mean by that? जब हम keeping word का इस्तेमाल करते हैं तो हम क्या समझते हैं? A, B, C, D. Yeah, quickly go ahead and read and tell me what which is the most suitable word. Okay, here we go. Time up. Yes, maintaining and retaining or documented information, both, but document भी और record भी दोनों. ठीक है? Very good, excellent. Next is when planning for product relation, the following topics to be included. What topics need to be included when we're planning for product relation? What topics to be included? Okay, here we go. The right answer is all of the above. Yes, all of the above. Do we need to take care Everything like when we're talking about product relation means from the customer inquiry to the product realization and the cycle dispatch. What does NDA means in terms meaning in QMS? What do you mean by NDA? Yes, good. And right, the right answer in the chat. So stay here. Okay, so here we go. Right answer is yes, non-disclosure agreement. NDA is the right answer. Very good. Next question. Okay, that's it. Oh, from 8.1. Good. I can see a lot many of you are participating. Yes, good. Ramesh, Abdul Karim, good to see you, man. And Priyanka, Dilip, Palit, Durai Raj, very good. Ramesh, Mangesh, Nasimha, good. Ganesh, yeah, good. Great. So nice. Okay, so I hope you got understanding of 8.1. So now let's understand that once you have done the planning part and you have understood the customer requirements, sorry, you have like, we'll go in more depth, like in the initially it's planning, but how can you do that effectively unless and until you do not understand the customer requirements, so the loop will not be completed, right? So now what's the requirements? Let's try to understand. And the next particular requirement, which is the understanding the requirements. So let's go into that. Clause number 8.2, requirements for the product and services. So हम समझेंगे what are the requirements. Let's go ahead. Okay. Now give your full attention because it's very systematic, right? 8.1 is planning. 8.2, understanding the customer requirements. So how can you understand customer requirements? Let's understand that customer communication, right? So what is customer communication? 8.2.1. Here what it says. Let's understand this. Customer communication, which shall include providing information related to product and services, of course, handling inquiries, contracts, and orders, including changes like if any change is happening, getting customer feedback, timely basis, including customer complaints, handling and controlling customer property. Sometime, what do you mean by customer property? Sometime customer might give you their own toolings, own fixtures, own machines, like maybe, right? And in that case, it's customer property. Generally, customer property are intellectual design drawings. Sometimes it may be toolings. Specific requirements for contingency plan. Whenever contingency means alternate. What is alternate, right? It can be contingency for diesel, the electricity contingency for machines, like could be spare parts. Like so, basically, understand what is the customer requirement. So how you do that? By establishing the customer communication. Who does this? Who is responsible for 8.2? Which department is responsible for 8.2? Design, product design, new product development. Right? These are the departments which is responsible. So, although it's not mentioned, so supplementary addition requirement, written or verbal communication shall be in the language agreed with the customer. Okay, very important. If your customer, if you are in India and let's say your customer in the Japan, is it necessary that Indian people should be able to speak Japanese? Is it mandatory? If your customer is in Germany, it's good. You might. Is it necessary? Like it depends. Like what should be language of communication? It depends like what is the agreed language. What is the agreed language? So mostly like the agreed language is depend. It could be English, right? So what is the? It's not necessary that your people should be able to speak Japanese or German, right? Of course, it's good and that's what many people do. But what is the language agreed with customer? That need to be seen. Okay, let me ask you one thing. Like, let's say the customer has sent you some design or drawing in a 3D or in a CATIA or a ProE or in a software like CATIA. Okay, let's assume if you don't have that 3D software, can that result into a non-conformity if you have a competent supplier who help you with that? कैन यू गेट क्या आपको एनसी मिल सकती है अगर आपके पास 3D सॉफ्टवेयर की एबिलिटीज नहीं है बट आपके सप्लायर के पास है कैन यू गेट एनसी the answer is no, not necessarily. Why? Because it's not necessary that you should have all that, but if you have competent supplier, that is okay. अगर आपने आउटसोर्स किया हुआ competent supplier तब भी चल जाएगा. देखो, the organization shall have the ability to communicate necessary communication including customer specified computer language format, computer aided design and electronic data intelligence. So it is clearly mentioned should have the ability to communicate necessary information. It does not mean that you need to have like if you are you know You might have some for that reason. You see, people deploy interpreter. Have you seen mostly Japanese companies like even in Bowel and Imrana? I see there are like one or two interpreters. आपने देखा ये चीज? They have this interpreter. Is it necessary? No. You should. You may not know that language, but if you can outsource that and you can have the competent people, or it can be outsourced. That is also possible. But of course, then it will be seen that what is the outsourcing process? Outsourcing process क्या है? Is it competent or not? Yeah, I mean, you also have one. Okay. Drawing and sketch considered as communication? Yes, of course, you are right. Abdul Karim, you are right. That is also part of communication. Good, you understand? So, is it necessary that what language? Language agreed with customer. Language agreed with customer. Very, very. So, added requirements of customer communication can mean verbal or whatever agreed with customer. And although not mentioned, any documented information is not mentioned. So, agree with the language software with the customer. Make sure the people who are dealing with that are competent, or either you have some third party who is competent. So, ये ensure कर लो कि जो third party कम से कम वो competent हो. Okay, 822, determine the requirements related to product and services. So, let's understand this, right? When you identify the requirements for product and services to be offered, the organization shall ensure. Now, let's understand, very important. So, what need to be ensured that the requirements of products and services are defined in the beginning itself. You must be aware what are any regulatory requirements, statutory or regulatory requirements, what are legal requirements. Suppose you have made some product, आपने कोई product बनाया, you sent it to Europe or some other country, and you got to know that that particular substance, a lead or mercury or some hexavalent plating or some part which is there is banned in that country. You ban it. So what will you do? क्या करोगे? If you get that back material from the that country, it's going to cost you a lot of money, and you scrap that, then also it's going to cost you a lot of money. You understand? So in the beginning itself, you should know that where your product will sell, what are legal requirements, and maybe sometime customer may not be aware, but you are aware about that. Make sure that that is identified. भाई ये legal requirement है इस country की यहाँ हम sale करने वाले हैं. So it's always good if you got to know that. And claim, of course, like whatever the you claim that warranties and all that, you should be, if you're giving that claim, you should be able to adhere to that. अगर आप claim दे रहे हो तो adhere करना पड़ेगा. So in short, identify the legal requirement. Now, how do you identify the legal requirement? All the documented information not mentioned, but it is very much expected. You identify the legal requirements. Now, what is interesting is this. Now they have added this. The requirement can be recycling. How the recycling will be done? What is the environmental aspect? Okay, what characteristics? It can be related to your government, safety, environmental, storage, handling, acquisition, elimination, disposal. Like so, all these requirements you need to identify prior before you ship metal to product or before you even in that feasibility phase itself. All this is about understanding customer requirement. So the question is, who is responsible for identification? Who is responsible? Who identify this? Like basically your engineering people, your design people, your new product development people, marketing people, they identify, right? And what if you do not identify this? Later on, it may create a lot of trouble for you if you do not identify. So is there any method? Because see, there are some could be like are you aware that in the battery in the battery those companies who make battery there's a battery buyback rule and system very they need to buy back batteries from the market. So if there are any legal requirements, so you must make sure that those legal requirements are identified prior. वो पहले ही identify कर लेने की आवश्यकता है, right? So let me show you one example which I made from my own mind. Initially, because there was no reference, then 17, 16 it came, but 17 we got hands on this standard. So yeah, can you see my screen? यहाँ पे देखिएगा. So this is a activity. This activity you can carry out for all the product, even for the bill of material parts. You can do that. So in this, what is that you need to do? So this is basically a method in which you can identify the legal requirement. Right? So it can be list on all the parts, right? What is the part name and specification, raw material or bill of material, and this is very important, right? What is the applicable requirement in that country of manufacturing, country of shipment, and customer? If customers tells you that where they are going to sell this part. So, like in India, say in the main some NCR, the hexavalent plating is not allowed. Similar way, there might be some regulations or some legal requirements to identify that. And then not only you identify that, but you also communicate that down the line in the supply chain. For example, वो चीज आप communicate करते हो और make sure करते हो these are mentioned in the relevant drawings, design, inspection standard or any other document. So who does this, right? Initially, in the marketing and sales and not sales, but necessarily, but marketing and new product development people, engineering, R&D people, these people are responsible for identification of this. Yeah, do you get now fair understanding what you need to do in terms of identification of legal requirement with respect to product? Yes, at the time of procurement, initially itself this should be identified because later on there should not be any surprise. बाद में कुछ surprise निकल के नहीं आना. Understood? How you need to do this, right? Great. So that's the requirement, and it's very important so that later on there should not be any surprise. तो बहुत जरूरी है भाई बाद में कोई surprise निकल के ना आए इसलिए पहले identify करें. Great. So let me go to next requirement. Now, if you see the next requirement is 8.2.3 is Ramesh. All these formats are there in the course. If you go in the course, IATF Intermediate course, you will find the formats, a list of formats. All these formats are available, right? If you do not find that, please drop us email at support@submastery.com. We'll help you with that. Great. So the review the requirements. Now let's understand next requirement. Review the requirements. The organization shall ensure that it has the ability to meet the requirements of product services, whatever you are offering, and shall conduct a review. So I just told you that what kind of review can be a contract review or feasibility review. Before you commit supply to customer, before you say I can do this, make sure that you carry out that review. So make sure that you are able to meet the requirements of delivery and post delivery. What is post delivery? Post delivery मतलब क्या होता है? After you like warranty will come under post delivery. Post delivery. Requirement not stated by customer but necessary for this specified. Sometimes you, as I said, that customer is he's a expert in assembly, but you are expert in your area. You are expert in that product. आप तो child part के expert हो या फिर अपनी अपनी assembly के expert हो. Customer is overall expert. OE is overall expert. You can't specify with the organization and any legal requirement. So make sure that initially itself all the requirements are reviewed because it cannot happen once you commit that I will do this. एक बार आपने commit कर दिया बोलते ना मैं एक बार commit करने से मतलब once you committed it is not backtrack, right? एक बार मैं commitment कर दी तो मैं अपनी भी नहीं सुनता है. There is some movie dialogue like that. ऐसा कोई डायलॉग है ना कि एक बार कमिटमेंट कर दिया तो फिर मैं अपनी भी नहीं सुनता है. ऐसा कोई डायलॉग है. तो in the similar way, once you have made commitment to customer that I will do this, this, and this, so make sure that you fulfill that commitment. So for that reason, initially in the review phase itself, you should identify whether you are able to meet the that contract requirement. If you see it is differing from the previously expressed, initially you said something I can do this, but later you said that okay, I won't be able to meet this tolerance. I won't be able to meet this performance evolution. Once you did the analysis, so make sure that customer agreed upon that, right? So make sure the contract review is happening and customer requirement shall be confirmed by the organization before acceptance. Very very important. Sometimes there is no formal review. कभी कभी formal review नहीं होता है in a contract review. So it may be in case of you have standard material, you are producing, let's say you have a catalog item. Catalog item क्या होता है? Let's say you are making fastener. Fastener could be a catalog item where internet sales in the we have mentioned in India Mart or some other website of this or you can buy, customer can buy in quantity. Like, in that case, maybe formal review might not be required, right? In that case, this may not be required. Okay, so let me show you one example so that you get better clarity. So what is contract review? Contract review is basically a method by which you make sure that you have understood the customer requirement and there should not be any gaps. Contract review क्या है? Contract review एक तरीका है by which you make sure that the customer requirement are understood or any gap between like any communication gap between you and customer is also sorted and also identified. Would you like to see the case study example? क्या आप example देखना चाहोगे? Yeah, of course, I'll show you the example, right? Okay, so if we see the contract review checklist, let's have a look at that. I'm not going to go in too much detail, but these are some questions like what is the customer requirements, like what is the uh, requirement with respect to the like warranty or any requirement, specific requirement related to statistical process study. If we have reviewed the requirement, like have we understood the requirement of customer, or do we have like proper like the OE drawing is available or not available, specifications are available, not so that this is basically a confirmation, right? That we have understood the customer requirement, कि हमने customer requirement को सही तरीके से समझ लिया है. So this is a very good way, right? So whether the what is the development time and cost, whether we understand any software requirement, any legal requirement, right? Packaging requirements are understood or not. Customer logo will be there on product. क्या हमारे एक product में customer logo होगा. Customer logo will be there on our product. So basically, contract review is a very good method by which you review the requirements or you fill any communication gap with customer. Understood? So this is a one good way by which this will come under like may come under 8.3 also, but here also like you can consider this, right? Okay, great. Let's move forward. So once you have done this, right, next requirement is the supplementary requirements. Let's understand what is supplementary requirement. So supplementary requirement is any customer authorization, right? Customer authorization or review frequency, Murtaza, in the contract review is generally done at the initial stage. Okay, generally I don't see people doing this at a fixed frequency. This is more specific to a new development or there is any change in the product. Then also you might do that. Understood, Murtaza? So yeah, so let's understand this further. Review the requirements. So there in the initial itself. Okay, thanks, Murtaza. So if you see, there are documentary evidence, customer authorization waiver. Okay, so what does it say is that sometime in the beginning itself, there may be some dimension you might not have met some dimension in the beginning, or maybe there are some non-critical dimension which you might not have met. हो सकता है beginning में आपको ऐसी requirement हो जो आपने meet नहीं करी हो. So in that case, what is required initially itself, you make sure that you get this proper authorized customer derivation. Okay, it can be and keep evidence of that in the PPAP file. जो आपकी PPAP file है, production part approval process में आप ये evidence रखो initially itself. If there any customer authorized waiver means customer derivation है, if customer derivation है, make sure that records are there, customer derivation record. If there is any, keep a record of that. Because later on, what will happen that maybe if you lost that some other, sometime have you seen this? कभी आपने देखा कई बार कि let's say customer has given some derivation verbally or this he said हाँ चल जाएगा I will use this and later on he left the company. I'm talking about OE or some other your customer. He left the company, then some new person joined in the supplier quality or a new person joined in the engineering of customer and he then stop all the material. He say, oh no, it is not as per drawing. It is not as per drawing. Have you seen this happening? So always good to have the evidence like who has approved, who has given the deviation because you never know when the next person or the next customer might get changed and then at that time he may say this is not as per that particular. So it's always good to have keep that evidence and keep that waiver evidence in the form of minutes of meeting or in some proper format. So make sure that you keep a record, right? Very, very important. So that's how you will implement. Okay. Okay. Then there are like critical to characteristic requirements. Customer waiver is deviation. Krishna. Deviation. If some deviation with respect to dimension or some non-critical parameter, initially itself you make sure that you keep a record of it. ठीक है. कोई डायमेंशन मीट नहीं कर पा रहे हो या कोई ऐसा इनिशियली कोई कंसेशन मिल गया आप. ठीक है. Okay, the organization shall now very important critical to quality. So in the beginning itself, how do you identify CTQ? So where this CTQ is given? What is CTQ? CTQ क्या होता है? What is CTQ? CTQ critical to quality. So beginning itself, right? You identify this critical to quality are those dimensions which may result into a complete rejection of your product. It can be any dimension, and generally, can you tell me where organization generally define this CTQ in which document? कौन से document में? Yes, absolutely, you're right. In the design itself, in the drawing itself, they identify yes. And what is required is expected I'll tell you one thing, right? One thing which is very, very important when you identify this critical to quality requirements, those critical to quality requirements should also be. It's always good if you cascade them. Cascade means इसको नीचे लेके आओ down the line to multiple documentation. Let me show you one example. Yeah, I hope you are able to screen now. Yes. Master list of special characteristic. Let's see here. Like, let's assume this is very important. Okay, ध्यान देना है इसको. You identify the what are the critical requirements and you make a list of that. Equally important, and that you identify that. But you also make sure that that requirement is cascaded down the line, updated in the various documents like FMEA, control plan, PFD, procedure diagram, work instruction. So this is also important. And maybe if some requirement you need to communicate to supplier, there's a process by that you communicate this critical to quality requirement with to supplier also. So this is one way, right? And yes, here you can put some frequency, maybe half yearly or quarterly. Like okay, Murtuja, I think यहाँ पे आप frequency डाल सकते हैं to review this, right? So you got the understanding. So what is critical to quality? Critical to quality requirements are initially identified, which may result into a complete rejection of your product. It may be dimension, it may be product parameter or process parameters. Generally, if you see product characteristics that is defined in the design, that is defined in the drawing itself, and this format which I have shown you, you make sure that whatever is defined is also cascaded down the line, and also make sure that that is reflected in multiple documentation. So who does this? Engineering, new product development people in the beginning itself. Okay, you got the understanding how to do this, right? समझ में आया आपको? Good. So critical requirement, we understood that. Now let's see any further requirements like yes, and feasibility study. So let's understand this. Although I have shown you the example of this, मैंने आपको already इसका example दिखा दिया है. So yes, manufacturing feasibility, whether this product is feasible or not. So what approach you identify? MDT. What is this MDT? Multidisciplinary approach. Multidisciplinary means people from different departments. So what is the other word? MDT का दूसरा word क्या है? MDT. MDT, multidisciplinary team. What is the other word for MDT? The other word for MDT is, yes, the other word of MDT is multidisciplinary team is CFT. Yeah, CFT, cross-functional team. So basically people from different departments. So of course, like you cannot do manufacturing feasibility with one or two people. So it's people from different department, engineering, quality, maybe production, purchase, like these people, like you might need to involve, right? Conduct analysis, is it feasible? Can your manufacturing process can be made with the product requirements, right? Can it meet the engineering requirements or the customer requirements? You identify that. And you carry out this feasibility. Okay. And if there's any change in design and product design and process design, you can do this feasibility study again. So basically, like, why do you do this feasibility study? Why? So do you know that you'll be able to do like meet the customer requirement or maybe with respect to benchmarking and any other appropriate method, so that you will be able to meet the required rate means customer run rate or customer demand. So you carry out this feasibility study. If not, if you don't do this, you may get non-conformity in this particular clause. नहीं करते तो इस clause में NC मिल सकती है, right? And you have seen the example also. So keep evidence of that. Keep evidence. Keep a result of this feasibility study. Okay, 8232. Keep evidence. Okay, so what do you need feasibility study? We already discussed this. And last is any changes which is happening during design development. The question is, okay, one question, listen carefully. During design and development, when the even when product is not finalized, are there any changes happening? Yes, there are changes happening. Should you also keep the revision number for during design also? Should we keep the revision number? Keep the track of revision number? Yes or no? क्या ड्यूरिंग डिजाइन डेवलपमेंट में रिवीजन नंबर का ट्रैक रखना है? Yes, the answer is absolutely yes. Even during design and development, some people may give some different. Yes, it's required. Why it is required? So you know that what are the changes which has been made. Number one, at times, sometimes if you have that trail and that data is available, it help you in making decisions so that you know what changes has been done, and if there are any issues or defects, you know that because of what changes the issue might have come. You should know how many revision has been done. Sometimes people use this different code for that changes in the change in the design development phase. They use some, D or D01 or D02, like design change stage, or whatever. Like you can keep some different code, and once it is released, then of course you can start with a fresh 001, whatever it is, right? So yes. So what is important? The important is like keep the changes, especially implement, maintain a design development process. Yes, this is required. Although documented word is not written. Subsequent provision of production. So if you are doing any changes during design and development also, those changes need to be monitored. Those changes need to be record of those changes must be kept. Although not mentioned, but yes, it is expected that keep a process. Great. So let's see a few questions like which we there were some challenge questions. Let's understand what requirements need to be understood from customer. So okay, there are multiple requirements need to be understood from customer. Requirement regarding your product quality or these customer requirements with respect to specification, technical requirements, logistic requirements, packaging requirements. So all these requirements initially need to be understood from customer. What is operation planning will include? Operation planning may include the initially itself, like what are the like customer requirements initially, like basically start from the product realization process itself. It may include basically planning for new product and also maybe for the regular product also, but more focus on the new product. How to maintain confidentiality of the customer organization information? So by signing NDA, non-disclosure agreement, or by these are the appropriate ways by which you maintain the confidentiality. What should be language of customer communication? Okay, customer language of customer communication is language agreed with customer. Language agreed with customer. Okay, जो भी language agreed हुआ. If verbal communication should also be monitored, क्या verbally if customer is telling you, giving you some order, of course you ask him to give order in the email or writing, and it's always good. But if some customer has complained and told the verbally have called you and told customer complaint, should you deny that? Can you deny that? The answer is no. So if verbal communication should also be monitored, yes, of course. It is written in the clause itself. You see, what is the meaning of customer designated special characteristic is nothing but critical to quality. Customer given critical to quality. What special attention to be given to? So customer designated special characteristic, you make sure that that is understood within the organization, that is cascaded down the line in multiple formats, and people are aware about that. There is some control on that, right? What is manufacturing feasibility? So manufacturing feasibility is a way by which you identify whether you will be able to make the product. The it is possible to whether product is feasible or not with the existing manufacturing capabilities. Who is responsible for carrying out manufacturing feasibility? It's MDT, multidisciplinary team, or the best way is to say cross-functional team is responsible for the identification of for doing this manufacturing feasibility study. Understood? Yes, friends. Yeah. Okay. Good. Any question? Let me know if you have any question in this particular requirement in this particular clause. कोई question है पूछ लीजिए. Ganesh SPC plan, that's what I'm telling. You may identify this, you might identify this based on critical quality requirement. So CTQ need to be prioritized when it comes to the identification of which parameters we need to carry out the SPC. So like of course we have a separate program for that, but just tell you how do you define on which parameter you need to SPC. Number one, customer defined critical to quality requirements in the drawing. Number two, it might be organization given requirements or organization identified requirements. It can be done on the product characteristic. It can be also done on process characteristics. दोनों पे क्या आ सकता है? Product पे भी और process. Right. So generally organization defined from the process parameter perspective and mostly customer defined for the product uh, characteristics. Prasad is vary from different customer to customer. Generally, it is 1.67. I know Maruti and Ashok Leyland. Before it was 1.33 process capability CPK value, but now it's 1.33. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Any question? Okay. Yes. We don't have any questions, so we'll move the last section of our. Yeah. Thank you very much, Prasad. Last section is ready. Ready and go. Let's go. Okay. Yeah. Let's get ready. So yeah, go ahead. Find the wrong statement in with customer under specific फेक एग्रीमेंट में से गलत स्टेटमेंट कौन सी, गलत गलत कौन सी गलत? गो अहेड राइट राइट रॉन्ग स्टेटमेंट। ओके, मुर्तजा हैज रिटर्न, वेरी गुड, एक्सीलेंट, जल्दी जल्दी, वेरी गुड। अंश, like not this, we have a separate program, so this is only for like, you be in our WhatsApp group, you'll get to know as we launch new batch. Yeah, Raju, very good. Masiya Bandi, good to see you are very regular. Excellent. I like this. Supplier agreed rate for bill of material is not required, right? Unless and until mandatory as per the customer agreement. ऐसा supplier के rate कोई ऐसी mandatory requirement नहीं है. Of course, it depends on if you have any special agreement. Next, what language shall be used for customer communication in return or verbal communication? कौन सी language? अंग्रेजी, local, agree with customer, और customer जिस country में है, customer. The answer is Masiya, Manoj. Very good. Krishna, Mahesh, Manoj Srivastava. क्या बात है? Ramachandran. Very good. The answer is, there we go. The right answer is language agreed with customer. जो language customer से agree हुई है. ठीक है, जिस जो agree हुई है. Next question. Following requirement to identify related product and services, including what? A, B, C, D. क्या requirement? अभी क्या add हो गया? पहले नहीं था. It was not there, but this has been recently added. Raju, Satyavani, Murtuja, very good, very regular. Dilip, Pali, very good. Masiya, Amol. Okay, time up. The answer is all of the above. All of the above, right? Very good. Next requirement. What kind of approach you utilize for organization manufacturing facility? कौन सी approach चाहिए? Which is the right word which is used? कौन सा अच्छा word क्या use किया? Hey, very good, Naveen. Good, Prince. Ganesh. क्या बात है? Dilip, Manoj. Okay, time up. The answer is multidisciplinary approach, like basically cross functioning. Of course, like those other might be there, but the best is by default is CFT, cross functional team, multidisciplinary approach. Okay, time up. Great. Okay, thanks. Great. I hope you enjoyed this short sequence of learning. Thank you very much. We do this every week. We are those who are part of Ultimate membership, they get access to recording. Thank you very much. Food sector we are not working as of now. अभी तो नहीं कर रहे हैं food के लिए काम यार. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this. Did you learn something new? नया सीखा आज आपने कुछ? Did you enjoyed this? If you learned something new today, yeah, yeah. चले, thank you very much, Masiya. Thanks, Raju. Thanks everyone. Thanks, Balaji. चले, thank you everyone. Let's meet next week. Thank you. All the best. Thank you very much, Amol. So it was short learning. I hope you like this. So let's meet next week. Thank you. Goodbye. Thanks, Abdul. Thanks, Hugo. Yeah, you are very regular. I really appreciate this. Camilo, Chetna. Thank you, everyone.